All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about a few of these bowl games that have happened over the past week. Um, the SEC is down bad. Uh, I mean, you tell me. I thought it meant more. I'm just saying. Uh, I'm not, you know, crapping on the SEC. I'm just pointing out hypocrisies from the fans. You know, the people that do the most talking for the SEC. Not necessarily the people down there. I mean, they have a lot of pride in the sport. I 100% agree. However, I will say, so far this bowl season, things haven't turned out to quite the way they wanted to. But anyways, let's get into Georgia Tech BYU. This ended up being a fun little game. It's just curious because Georgia Tech hasn't had the best season. They started off great. I think they went 7-0 before their first loss, and then it went kind of downhill from there. And then BYU, their only two losses on the year were to Texas Tech. Now BYU was supposed to play Notre Dame, I believe, before they decided to opt out and quit. Um, but that was what it was. BYU ended up coming back in this game and putting on a show for the fans and taking home the victory. That game just ended up being what it was. I mean, Georgia Tech was just a tough team to beat for anybody, but it's not like they weren't beatable. And BYU's young quarterback was able to get a little bit more experience in a larger game. Virginia, Missouri. This was probably the most shocking outcome for a lot of people. They just thought for sure that Missouri was going to beat them just because of the trench play. But it didn't end up being a wonky game anyway. I wasn't really, too in tune to it. Now, this is probably my favorite matchup right here. The LSU Houston game. This game right here. This game right here shut a lot of people up. LSU started off with that big kickoff return. I'm talking about huge, and Houston just never let off the gas. Shout out to their coach. He's up there in age, but he's still kicking, and they put on a show for the ages. LSU's most definitely getting a new quarterback next year. Michael Van Buren just isn't the guy. I don't believe. He was a one-time commit to Oregon when he was coming out of high school, and but I just thought he reminded me. I don't know how familiar you guys are with older Oregon quarterbacks, but he reminded me of Vernon Adams, the guy we got out of Eastern Washington. Yeah, Vernon Adams. He was a smaller guy, electric, but things didn't just pan out because he kept getting he got his hand injured, his leg injured. I mean, he had multiple different injuries, but that's kind of like Michael Van Buren's play style. But shout out to Houston for getting that win. That was a very impressive win. North Texas. I mean, come on, dog. Like, y'all had a great season, but your defense has been horrible. How do you give up 30 points in the fourth quarter? That sucker was back and forth in the fourth quarter. I mean, it wasn't back and forth in the fourth quarter, but it was like it looked like North Texas was going to take control of the game, and then out of nowhere, it was boom, an explosion of freaking points. Shout out to San Diego State for making the comeback, but man, North Texas, did you get away with one right there? They talk about a team that was fighting for an opportunity to make the playoffs. By the way, North Texas's team is pretty much depleted now. The portal has taken everybody. It's the same as JMU. Their entire offense went to the portal. I think, me personally, I think they should go back to the. I think you should get one opportunity to transfer your entire career without any consequence. So at any point you could transfer one time, but then after that you have to sit a year like they used to do before you could play again, or if your coach leaves, you're able to transfer. That's just what I think it should be. I think it would eliminate a lot of the G5 schools getting a lot of kids taken away. Now, granted, you don't ever want to restrict these kids from being able to, from going from a G5 to getting a greater opportunity to change their life. I I don't want to take that, but that's why it's a one-time transfer. So you play a couple years at a G5, and then you move up. So that's just what I think it should be, because a lot of these teams are just getting their whole teams taken away. Clemson's offense continues to worry me. Um, I'm really curious to see what they do next year as far as quarterback is concerned. Their defense, Clemson has not had a bad defense, dog. I think their defense just gets worn down as the game goes on. It happens every year. Their defense just gets worn down, and it's like, bro, we're on the field all game long. The offense can't do jack squat. Okay, I mean, Dabo just needs to go out and get a super, super good offensive coordinator from somewhere. I don't understand how you can have a great defense every year. You got players going to the draft a lot. It's like, dude. And then for all you dum dums who pick Clemson to be rated so high to start the year, it was like, why? I never understood that. Like the Penn State, yeah, I got it. I understood that. But Clemson, come on, bro. They did not show anything the year before. They barely made the playoffs the year before. I understand that a lot of those kids were getting older. It was their second year in the program. The receivers were better. I understand that, but to be all the way up in the top 10, a lot of people saying they picked them to win the national championship before the year. I mean, that was just crazy to me. But their offense is horrible. Shout out Gronkemeyer from Penn State. That kid showed a lot of heart in this game. Their young running back and young receiver. What's the young receiver's name? Dang, I can't think. I'm sorry, I can't think of it off the top of my name, off the top of my head. But if he doesn't go to the portal, Penn State's gonna have at least two cornerstone positions at the running back and at receiver. And receivers the crazy part, because you never hear that about Penn State with the young receiver. But they're gonna have two good receivers or two good position groups to fall back on. They actually had a couple young defensive linemen that showed up in this game. So shout out to Penn State for getting that last win with the NM head coach, and hope you guys have a better season next year. Now to my favorite event. Here we go. This trash right here. USC had this game in the bag to start the fourth. I'm telling you, they had it in the bag, and it was insane to me how. I mean, granted, we all know a Lincoln Riley defense is not going to be, up to standard. I had picked USC because USC treats these games as their Super Bowl. Their quarterback always throws for 1,002 yards, and it just end up winning the game, whether it's a shootout or a dogfight. That's just how they do it, and it's been like that every year. Well, not the USC, but Lincoln Riley, his teams. And going into the fourth, even though I did not think I thought Maeva played a horrible game. I mean, he did not look good to me in that game. And they were down by the goal line, which I thought was the craziest thing. They ran it the first play, got stuffed. Ran it the second play, got stuffed, and then tried to throw a quick pass out. Why didn't they run it with their quarterback on a read option? That has worked for them all year on crutch situations, whether it was to get the first down or the touchdown. That has been their bread and butter, and they didn't even think about going to it. That was insane to me. Then the part that everybody's talking about, um, the end of the game. Why in the world did three or four people all have an opportunity to tackle this kid, and they let him run up the sideline and be gone? I'm talking about gone. It was honestly an embarrassment. Um, to all the defensive coaches out there, they just nobody thought that they would see that at the end of the game. All they had to do was tackle him, hold him to a field goal, and go to another overtime or the second overtime. But yeah, that looked horrible to me. Um, dang, USC, Lincoln Riley. This is gonna be y'all's year though to make a statement. Y'all got the number one draft class. You darn 3-star merchants. But anyways, moving on. I didn't watch the Louisiana Tech game, the Tennessee Illinois game. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah. 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 So remember that gauntlet they said Alabama had to go through? They said nobody's had to go through this many ranked teams and do all this. And well, it was Tennessee, it was Vanderbilt, and it was another team. I can't remember. But it was all three of those teams back to back to back. Because they were just so good. Well, 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 well. I think it was a total of one opt out in this game. A total of one between two teams. Or was it this game or the Vanderbilt game? I know it was low in both. I just can't remember which one had one. But anyways, in this game, for Tennessee to get, which I thought Tennessee was getting manhandled up front. Odd, right? But yeah, Tennessee was getting worked. Now you had the Illinois team, who everybody was like, "Oh, they're so." People had them real high up, and then Indiana whooped that ass, sent them unranked. Oh no, they didn't go unranked. I think they went to like 25. Then Illinois came right back and beat USC, and they were like middle of the pack, maybe 23, 22, somewhere around there, and then end up getting unranked again. But my point being, Illinois wasn't even thought of as a good team to anywhere near for most of the season. After about 4 or 5 games in, I think it was like 4 games in, they end up being unranked for the majority of the season. Meanwhile, Tennessee, who loses a total of 4 games, end up being 5, and they were ranked for damn near the entire season. I think it wasn't until week 15 they were unranked, and they were the most trash team. They did this last year. I don't know if y'all remember last year. Tennessee stayed ranked damn near the entire season last year for some unknown reason. I'm not claiming SEC bias. I'm just saying, you want to know where you get your strength of schedule or strength of record, is because teams like this don't belong in that top tier team or the top 25, but they stay there all year just because. Like, I don't like that. It is what it is, though. Um, we did the Miami game already. All right, let's go Texas and Michigan. This game actually the final score was not indicative of what this game was, because I felt like this game was super super even until the last 3 possessions of the game, and that really changed the outcome of it, because Michigan had every opportunity, and maybe the lights were too bright, the situation was too big for Bryce Underwood, because he ended up throwing, what was it, 2 picks? I can't remember if it was two picks, but anyways, he ended up having not that great of a game. He showed flashes. He was able to run the ball. He made a couple of good reads. He got lucky on one. He darn near sent 2 people to the hospital, though. I did not like that. Both him and Arch, they're going sent people to the hospital with the late passes. I don't know what they were thinking. Arch ended up running the ball really well in this game. ESPN broke a thing that Arch's breakout game. Breakout. Anyways, he ended up running the ball pretty darn well in this game. I felt like this sucker was a whole hell of a lot closer than 41-27. But shout out to Texas for winning this. Shout out for them, Texas for uh, having a good second half to the season. Um, it's not easy to come back from all the allegations of being trash to having a decent second half of the season and then winning a bowl game against Michigan. And shout out for all the kids that are playing, bro. Like, I don't think people understand how important it is to us fans to watch the kids actually play the game instead of always opting out like it's the normal and fun thing to do. But yeah, shout out to all them playing. I know Texas had a whole bunch of people out on defense, and Michigan had like 3 people out in total. So yeah, shout out to all the kids playing, and yeah, man. But again, there's no excuses out here when it comes to people to opt-outs and injuries right now. The Iowa Vanderbilt game, nobody expected to see Iowa score that many points. Vanderbilt kept going, what did he say? What they say? The fans on Twitter they said Indiana only scored 15, Oregon only scored 18. First off, Oregon had the most. Like, I know I was talking about injuries, right? I'm being hypocritical. Anyways, that's my business. I'm an Oregon fan at the end of the day. Anyways, Oregon went into that game missing their tight end, 3 receivers, and two and a half offensive linemen because one ended up playing for a little bit, and still won that game in a monsoon versus Iowa. That is not an easy team to beat at their place and in a monsoon. It's not an easy team to beat. But yeah, shout out to Iowa's defense all season long. But anyways, Vanderbilt's like, we scored this many points. Yeah, but guess what? You know what you didn't count for? Iowa didn't score this many points against Oregon or Indiana, I think combined. Like, bro, you had gave up 34 to Iowa, and it wasn't like Iowa was barely moving. I was up and down, and the score could have been worse because I think Iowa had they had an interception in the end zone, which was a bobble pass. The dude caught it in the end zone, which would have been a touchdown, but then he bobbled it and it got passed around and it ended up being an interception. And I think they also had a fumble or something else happened when they got down inside the 20 and ended up having to give the ball back. Shout out to Vanderbilt though for coming back. Diego Pavia, I never believed in this kid being a Heisman finalist. I thought that was the craziest thing to me. But shout out to him for the endurance and he able to challenge himself to keep fighting and coming back in this game. That was really impressive to me. He had two or three really deep passes that were insanely accurate. So yeah, shout out to him. This game wasn't a game. Like the final score wasn't even it should have been a lot larger of a score, and the game looked a lot worse than 44-22. Nebraska had no answer for Utah. None. I mean none. The Arizona Duke game, I was heartbroken. I thought for sure that Arizona State was going to win it. Arizona State had every opportunity to win this game late. They had every opportunity. I mean, if you look at it, they had the 2 interceptions, the fumble, and I think they had a turnover on downs if I'm not mistaken. But dude, they had every opportunity to win it, and even their final possession, they could have gone down and scored, and they end up having another interception. So it was, bro, I was so disappointed because everybody. They were like, I'm taking Duke. I kept seeing people take Duke. I'm like, don't do that. Don't take Duke. Man, Arizona State went up and they had this game in the bag and fumbled it. Kenny, bro. Kenny. Shout out to Duke, though. Shout out to Duke on the hell of a season. Y'all won the ACC. Yeah, I know they wish they were in the playoffs, but come on, dog. Come on, yeah, you shouldn't have been in plus. But anyways, those are all the games from that I wanted to talk about from the past weekend. It's been a hell of a year so far, and it's been a really good time watching all these games. A lot of different outcomes than we expected. A lot of upsets and a lot of great games. But yeah, so as far as today goes, I've already got Miami moving on. We're going to give you guys updates throughout the day, pretty much after every single game and halftime. So stay tuned and stick around. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. If not, it's all good. So appreciate you anyways. I'll holler at you in the next